My name is Cypher Morrison, and this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in, 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 tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome, guys, to This Week in Car Audio with our guest, Mike Misa, and Lucky McGovern, my new co-host. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's going on, Mike? You got to unmute yourself, buddy. There you go. He's in there. Don't mind me for looking down. I'm just sharing this to a bunch of groups so we can get a lot of people up in here.
Hey, Lucky.
What's going on?
Oops. Mike Misa. It won't let me share to your page, sir. All right. So anyway, we have Mike Misa in here. He's been in the trade of car audio for many years, had different things he's been part of. We're going to have a little talk with him today about it. His entire, what he's done, what he's been through since beginning to end. Mike, so why don't you tell us a little bit of what got you into car audio to start with?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. I've been doing this for, 95, 96. I actually, believe it or not, I started taking home speakers and putting it in my my sister's car. I think I put a pair of Fisher Price. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that brand, but Fisher Price home speaker, and I like the way it sounded, and I was using her deck speaker. Her rear deck lid had a stock speaker in it and her stock stereo. And then I started I started enjoying that. And then, I wanted to, work for a shop, and I went all over where I grew up. I grew up in Castro Valley, and there's a town next door over called San Leandro. And I started working for a shop called Crazy Larry's. It used to be called Megatronics.
Yeah.
And I
Great
tried.
Name for a shop.
I'm sorry.
Great name for a shop, Crazy Larry's.
It was a great name. But before Crazy Larry's, I wanted to work for a guy named Dave Quintana. He owned all the beeper cities and all over Northern California. He didn't want to give me a time of day.
What did you do for these shops? I know you worked for them, but what was your role in these shops?
Well, I wanted to be an installer.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, because I like to work with my hands, and so Larry, I went up to Larry and I said, look, man, I don't know anything about car stereo. Give me 2 weeks, and tried me out as an installer. Unfortunately, I failed with that. He's like, you just know how to talk. So he wanted me to be a salesperson. And, from there on, I throughout high school and I worked for him. I wanted to be a better salesperson by, learning more about the product. Cause I was always a firm believer when somebody's going to come to you for a reason. Either they're winging it. They may know something about car stereo, or they know more than you than car stereo. One thing that, there's a reason why people will come to you. And so, I started, talking about the product and started explaining things to them, and they started to understand. And, and here's a guy that, I like to doodle. I mean, I like to write things down. I like to go over things with, in writing, And and it started making sense to a lot of customers, and and they started understanding. It's just the simple things of making people understand, and taking the time to for and I hate to say it, but in today's retail, we've lost all that. And the reason why I say that is because uh you know it doesn't have to be in our field. It could be anywhere. We can go into a restaurant. The way of customer service has changed. See, I'm from the old school. Customer service will, I take care of customers. I always try to be as honest and straightforward.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it sucks because our honesty and our straightforward and our bluntness has gotten us in trouble. And the reason why is because there are a lot of things that we don't want to do for customers. It's not because it's not best for it's best for us, but it's best for them. And the reason why I say
Right.
that is, if you touch a customer's car and if you break their dash and it's a classic car, or if you do something and it end up going backwards. The key, the game in retail is not to go backwards. It's always to go
Right.
forward, right?
Right.
Um, so funny thing is we named our shop. After what I was telling you, we named our shop Music in Motion, and by a dealer that I had when I worked for Earthquake. I'll get to the Earthquake subject in a minute, but we met this guy and we had dinner with this guy, and we were in town, and this guy goes up to the hostess. The hostess told that he told the hostess, "I want to talk to your manager." And I'm like, this guy's a little bit aggressive. He's a little bit, and I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, this guy's my dealer, when I worked for Earthquake. So, and so he went up to the hostess, and the hostess went and grabbed the manager, and the manager goes, "What can I do for you guys?" He goes, and so my dealer told, pardon me, guys, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't normally do this, but I'm trying my best. But so the manager went up to us, and the manager goes, "What can I do for you guys?" So my dealer goes up to the manager and goes, I am in town, and I'm here eating in your restaurant, and I brought some guests, and they're from another state, another city, and I want to show them a good time, and I chose your place. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm like, I'm a little bit like, I'm kind of feeling a little bit nervous. I'm feeling a little bit confused. But he goes, "I want to show them what your service can offer me." And he tells them, it's like, "I'm going to be paying for service, and I demand service." And I look like, wow, that is, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is service is time.
Yeah.
It is.
And
Yep.
and
A lot of people don't get that.
huh? No,
A lot of people don't get that. Yeah.
don't understand that. So so he sat us down. He said, the manager said, "Fair enough." Sat us down, and the manager of that restaurant cleared out the table, brought us uh, drinks, gave us our menu, basically wrote our. I mean, he took care of us the rest of the night. And I asked the manager. I said, "Sir, are you the manager?" He goes, "Yeah, you guys asked for me." And I said, "Well, aren't you like, don't, I mean, why did you take care of us?" He goes, "Well, you guys are here to get service, and I want to give you the best service I can give you."
Absolutely.
Um, I've and I was really, I was like, that's how I would want to be. That's how I want our business to be. When my partner and I opened this up 6 years ago, we could open up a shop in the most, you know, upscale of Dublin, and we already know we're going to get guaranteed business.
Yeah.
But end of the day, we want to know how we're going to get business and how we're going to take care of our customers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing we looked at each other, And then we got to, and I explained to him about that story, and you know, we named, that's why we named it Music in Motion. And you know, and then we had our slogan, music for your, what was it, music for your soul, motion for your life, or something like that, you know. And that was our slogan for a while. And you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, I've managed to travel all over the United States, and I was blessed enough, earthquake has allowed me to do that.
Awesome.
And one thing that I've encountered was two things: is food will get everybody together, and music will get everybody together. I don't care
Absolutely.
what differences everybody has. I don't care if you hate me because I'm short. I don't care if you hate me because I have more hair than
Yeah.
you do. But you know what? When it comes to food and music, it turns everybody into a different person. You know.
Yeah. I
So,
100% agree with that. We when we go to Surf City, you know, a lot of the big shows, but Surf City being one of them, CES, you know, everybody when we're on the playing field, it's we're against each other. But as soon as we're done, like everybody's eating together, we all, you know, have a great time together. So I 100% agree with that. 100%.
yep. Lucky and I have discussed many times on this show specifically that breaking bread with your fellow people. There's a lot. There's a
Yes.
reason it's you know a biblical thing and whatever. Breaking bread carries a lot of weight. When you
Yeah.
sit down and eat with somebody, you know them differently. I'd
Yeah.
like to just quick point out here we got Tristan Paris from SQ Sounds out of Barbados. He watches the show. He gets a handful of people together and watches the show. He even mentioned at his shop, he owns a stereo shop in Barbados, SQ Sounds.
Yeah.
And he mentioned you come in a customer, but you leave family.
Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, and I consider them family, and we talk a lot. You know, and they're just such great people. Yeah, we ever since I started doing the Basshead Diaries, me and Doug were doing them all the time, and you know they came on and ended up, you know, we talk all the time. Great people, Tristan and Tiffany, and like he said, you know, anybody involved in car audio, you know, I see them in their messages, you know, doing a great job and this and that. You know, there needs to be more people like that. You know what we do. And hello, you guys, Tristan, Tiffany, Dave Bradshaw, Tom Selleck.
I'm sure Navia's watching, you know.
Yep, yep, Nevaeh, yep.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Lucky and Doug are family. Tristan said, yeah. They likewise.
Yep. We're just waiting for
But
COVID to be over so we can head out to Barbados at some point. You know?
Right?
you know, one of the main reason why, you know, and here's the thing, you guys, Doug, I've known you for a very long time,
Hmm.
and you know, I I've never competed, but you know, I've been around DB Drag for a long time, ever since Circuit City Road Shop. And you know, I wanted to, you know, I had a really cool looking Mirage back in the day, and I always thought that my Mirage was, you know, pretty loud. I had two old school Rockford Fosgate DVCs with the 800.2. It was a downfire with the plexiglass, and I met a gentleman by the name of Mike Martin. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with Mike Martin.
Okay, for people that don't know, Mike Martin competed in the late '90s in DB Drag. He had an extreme vehicle. The show that I did back in I think it was 2001, 2002. If you guys want to check it out, one of these times I'll show it up on here. But I did a show for Tech TV at the time. It became G4 TV, and I'm not sure what it's called now. But we did Stereos That Kill, and Mike Martin. Yeah, so Mike Martin had an extreme car, and so we had so they really kind of spent a little time with Mike Martin. But he had an extreme car back in the day, bulletproof windows. What was that, a Hyundai or something like that?
Well, at the time, it was a, well, he had two of them actually. When I used to come, when I would always watch him,
Uh-huh.
he had an Infinity, a gold Infinity,
No.
and then he had a Toyota Tercel.
Oh, that's
I
what it
think
was.
they
The
did it
red Toyota Tercel,
yeah,
bulletproof
yeah.
windows, um, really thick bulletproof windows, had the full build outs on the doors, build up on the floor, build down on the ceiling. Yeah, so Mike Martin, right? Mike Martin, um, he was like kind of one of the loud guys around, and this guy was hanging on his coattails. So, you know, um,
Well, so like what Doug said, but you know, Mike Martin was one of the loudest guy around, and at the end of the day, when it's funny how this industry, we all, we will all find each other in that same circle. So
mhm,
when I left retail in 2000, I just got to a point where I was still young, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was still working at you know I was working at Crazy Larry's, and then
mhm,
when I had graduated high school, he was he wanted to open up another shop,
mhm.
and basically his words were, "We're moving, we're closing this shop." And I figured, am I getting fired? And I mean, I didn't, I thought, but at the end of the day, he took me to a big giant warehouse. It was 10,000 square foot. It was right across the street. And, it's like, this is our new shop. And, I was really, really happy because, you know, here's the thing. Growing up in this industry, one thing I always tell a lot of people is that growing up in this industry, a lot of people has given me the tools to survive this industry. And at the end of the day, this industry is either you're going to love this industry or you're going to hate this industry. But a lot of people has given me the tools, but as I got older, those tools weren't given to me. I earned those tools. And I've always told, and I hired a 20-year-old kid here to work with us.
Mhm.
And, you know, I always tell him, I said, look, I'm not giving you no tools to learn this industry. I'm not giving you any tools to work on. And he's like, well, what do you mean tools? I have my own tools. It's in the toolbox. I said, no, I'm going to give and he thinks that's what I'm giving him. See,
Mhm.
tools in life is what is given, and we have to earn that, and
Yeah.
when you give somebody a tool, it's not it's you don't end up respecting it, but when you earn
Right.
it
Right.
becomes more of you tend to respect it because you
Mhm.
you
There's
you
more
get
pride in it. Yeah.
it exactly, yeah.
You take more
So
pride.
yeah. So, in throughout the years, when going back to retail, so I left retail, and, you know, Earthquake, Joseph, you know, has offered me a job. He offered me a job. He offered me a job. Numerous,
Joseph is the owner of Earthquake for the people that don't
yeah,
know and haven't been part of the industry. So go ahead.
Joseph, what is the owner? Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So he offered me a job, and I didn't know what I was getting into. And here's a kid that was here's a kid that was, you know, in his early 20s, who's didn't know what he was getting into, was really scared. And and then finally I was like, I'm done with retail. I didn't want to be in retail anymore. And so at the end of the day, I finally called Joseph, and I said, Joseph, I'm ready to work for you. And he took me to CES, and it was a way it was just an eye opener.
Mhm.
We brought a van that had 3015s in it. It had,
Oh,
yeah, at the time it was an Astro van. And
Was it
it
Carlos's?
no,
Carlos
no, it
Rodriguez.
was huh?
Well, there's another Carlos Rodriguez. Or no,
Yeah,
what was Carlos's last
Carlos
name?
Frias.
Frias. Sorry,
Yeah,
Carlos
Oh,
Frias.
okay.
He's Rusty actually bought his yellow van at
yeah,
one point.
yeah. Well,
So
I'll get to Carlos.
yeah.
So when I didn't know what I was getting into. And so and Joseph introduced me
Mhm.
to like room of 60 reps, and I'm like, it was for a young kid, it was like I did, it was exciting, and at the same time it was scary.
Mhm.
And so after CES, and but my very first experience, go back to this, my very first experience with CES, I got to see great brands like the Rockford booth, uh, Kicker, JL. I mean, all these, and I felt like, I felt like I made it to the big leagues. I
Hmm.
was this young retailer that, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is that you can turn a small nobody, I'm still a nobody today, but you can turn small nobody, small, you know, person from a retailer and make his dreams come true. You get to walk with the big, big dogs like, Greg Cobb, or Mark Fukuda, or the president of JL. I didn't walk with them, but I mean, in being in the same room with them, being in the same arena, being in the same everything, it's kind of like the same way. I'm not a competitor, but it's the same way when I'm in the room with you guys, or when I'm here with you guys, or when you guys come to my shop. It's the same way. It's old time, old friends.
Hmm.
And nothing against everybody, but the one person that I wish that would always come is because I get to enjoy his barbecue is Gary Killian. And that's very, is his. We talked about breaking bread. I always see Gary in his, cowboy hat, and he's got his grill ready, and and that's what it's all about. We don't. There's no. You come to these shows. We don't. Nobody wears a suit or nobody wears a tie. It's we all wear flip
Hey,
flops, and you
hey,
know.
at the last show,
Yeah.
Kyle, uh, what's his name? Kyle
Called Cook, called Ernie,
Kearney.
called Ernie, called Cook,
No, no, no. Kyle
Ernie,
from
called Ernie.
Bakersfield. No, Kyle from Bakersfield.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Bakersfield. Kyle
his son,
Rhodes.
Flex Issues. Yeah, Flex Issues
Kyle
Kyle.
Rhodes from Flex
Yeah,
Issues.
he showed up in a suit and tie this weekend, competing at Jay's Alarm Show. Came
Really?
straight from work. Yeah, he had his tie on, and yeah, he
There
came
it
to
is there.
rolled up, and
Yeah, Kyle.
so not
Yeah,
everybody
Kyle Rhodes is
doesn't
a
show up.
good dude.
No, Kyle Rhodes is
Yeah,
awesome. I'm really big fan of his son with the Hot Wheels or the Power
yeah.
Wheels class. So
Yep. Jake Bridges and their
yep,
daughter. Yep.
yep, yep.
So,
So
eh,
Mike, I got a question for you. What's it gonna
yep.
take to get you to come out and compete, man?
Oh man, you know what? Uh, it's funny. So it's funny you asked me that. Going back to Mike Martin. Mike Martin, I think, was doing Ayaska, right, or USAC. I get confused
well,
between
he
it.
he did DB drag, but he also did Ayaska.
Okay, so Ayaska. So I met I so I so I ran into Mike Martin at a show in Concord, and I was still with Earthquake, and it's funny because um I it was scary. It was fun because I didn't know what I was doing. But you know what? That's one great thing about, again, we're all get back
Yes.
to the circle. You know, Mike Martin, showed me how to do, how to burp a car, explained to me how to burp a car. He gave me his CD and he let me use it, and you know, but and it's funny, I did enjoy it and I did have a lot of fun. When Carlos and I started working together for Earth, when Carlos joined us, when he started working for Earthquake, um, Carlos, you know, Carlos was the guy that kept me young. And the reason why I say that, because Carlos loved to compete. Carlos
Did.
enjoyed compete.
So hey, so real quick on Carlos. So people that don't know Carlos Frias, I don't know, what did he have? 6 kids or seven
I think
kids or
five kid.
yeah,
I don't.
whatever. He had a whole van full, right?
Yeah,
So so he would literally show up to the show with a van full of kids and his wife, kick everybody out of the van, pull out the seats, build his wall
yeah,
in the
yeah,
at the show, and then go compete. At the end of the
yeah,
show, take his wall apart
yeah,
and put
Wow.
all his wife and kids back in the car and drive back home.
yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
That
insane.
he was
I
one of the
mean,
first guys with the Astro vans back in
yeah,
the day.
yeah. And so to answer your question, when I, having this store with my partner, and what we're trying to do here is, we've created a monster. Our shop, we don't just do car stereo. Andrew and I both look. Andrew's my business partner, um, and I've always wanted to compete. I've always wanted to get into competition,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I have the right people that will help me. I mean, I have, now I have Mr. Lucky to help me. I know I always have Doug to help me. I know I can always call on Greg, or I can call on Christian, or I can call Leo. I mean, or if I can find Mike Martin, um, but it's one of those things I always tell people. I rather have you guys come here and we all have fun and enjoy, and talk trash to each other like
Mm-hmm.
families do. Uh,
Right. Right.
a family, be a like we all do. When families get together, and um, I see my passion through you guys' eyes on how I hear a lot of you guys, you guys are hitting these DBs, or when I've never um, met some of you guys, but it's great to see, and I get on the SPL stats, and I look at it and I see who's got the highest points, and it's great, and it's also a great selling tool,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
for a lot of retailers. One of the thing that sucks about retail, and I don't know if I'm allowed to use that word, but what sucks about um, um, in this industry
Mm-hmm.
is the word DB drag is not in our boxes anymore. It used to be, you know, and to a lot of salespeople, when I worked for Earthquake, you know, the you guys were basically kind of like the NASCAR drivers. You guys will, and that's how I looked at you guys. You guys were like
Mm-hmm.
the you guys, you guys push these amplifiers, or you guys would push these woofers to the limit and would maximize them, and that allowed us retailers, or at the time, um, inside sales or national, or however you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
to give out these nice presentation to these consumers, or end users, and look, we've won this at this competition, we've done this at this
Right.
competition,
Yep.
or we have, Mr. Lucky here hitting it with this woofer or with that amplifier.
Yeah.
um it just you know when I left working for Earthquake to come back to retail, um you know our industry has done some major changes. I you know I think I miss the olden days. I stare at this, not uh, one of my guys actually gave this to me, and I stare at this every day. You know, that is the
Orion
old
amp.
Orion amp.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
I mean, I came from the '90s, '80s, and '90s
Right.
of when everything. ev- we could push everything to the limit. We can go.
Yep.
We can. We if we blow a woofer, it's not a big deal, or if we blow an amp,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a big deal. But now it's like, you know um it's slowly starting to come back, and I'm only saying this as a retail standpoint. We when my partner and I opened this store, my partner asked me, he's like, hey, we should sell Earthquake. I love Earthquake. I love my boss. He treated me like a son.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Made me earn all the tools that I've earned, that I've made me successful today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one thing that I must say about Earthquake is that Earthquake is it will always and remain be a great company.
Mhm.
And let's just, but one thing that I can honestly say, with our brands is that, uh, eh, back in the day, warranty was warranty, but along with earthquake and everybody else, warranty has gotten better. You know,
Okay.
uh, and that's one thing that, uh, you know I always tell people, and I'm trying to get to where I'm trying to say here. One thing I people there's three things to a sale. There's the presentation, the the transaction, which is money being exchanged, and
Mhm.
after, people don't care. Two out of three people don't care the other two, which is presentation and the transaction. They care about the aftermath, which is
Yeah.
warrant. How am I going to get taken care of?
Yeah.
People, you buy a car, the most second expensive thing a person's going to buy is a car.
Especially
And
today.
yeah,
Today,
Jeez.
yeah,
yeah, for
Well,
sure.
and I mean, you got a car that's in your shop right now that's more than half the people's houses watching this.
Right.
uh, yeah. I mean, oh, you mean this one or the Rolls Royce?
The Rolls Royce that you got around back.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's actually in your shop.
Yes.
And you know what? So here's that is so awesome for you to do that. So there was the shop in Stockton years ago. I don't even think they have it in there anymore. Warehouse Car Stereo, and I said this in one of my live feeds a while back about how I think every single shop should have a vehicle in there where people could get in and listen and display, like, hey, this, like Warehouse Car Stereo had it to where they would, they had a bunch of pre-setups, like jail audio, and then you'd have this box, and then you'd have 215s of this brand, and you would get in that car and they would plug in that box and they'd let you hear it. And it's okay, you want to try this out, and they put that box with these speakers. And I think that that's awesome. So, to go into a shop, I would definitely recommend any shop to have a vehicle in there to where people could get in and listen to it. So that's pretty cool that you got that car in there. What's the system you have in there right now?
we
I'm gonna have to come up there now and listen to that thing.
yeah. Well, so the funny story is this guy brings me a lot of his cars, and he and actually, this guy became a friend of ours. He's really close with my business partner. I mean, this this gentleman will, this gentleman, if he needs something, he'll go. My partner will go over there, set up his computer. It's not in a matter of, you know, you know, consumer to merchant relationship. It's always about building a relationship and turning customers into family.
So,
So
so
Right.
this car
Right.
you're showing us now, though, this is a Silver Spur Rolls
yeah,
Royce.
yeah,
That I'm gonna be able to borrow next week for a couple days.
absolutely. It's got some Asantis.
Nice.
Believe it or not, the rim's worth more than the car, but
Oh, wow.
So in what we do, usually the system is worth way more than the vehicle. In that case, you got the vehicle worth way more than anything in there.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of dark, but that's what the interior looks like. It's like really in good
Wow.
condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is the system that we did. I mean, this car is just it's a beautiful car. So um, my fabricator Liam built this. Did all Hertz Audison or Hertz. I'm sorry.
Hertz.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then we put Hertz components in the front. It's basically a whole Hertz car.
Yep.
So
So, so Tristan
Yeah. So
from Barbados was asking about the blue car up front. So what can you tell us about that blue car? What make,
so
model
that
is it? All that stuff. Unless
well,
Lucky had
let me
another
get to
question
that,
about
but
the Rolls.
not this we converted this into a Hellcat.
nice.
Bagged it. It's got a complete JL audio system in it, W7s. But yeah, and then Mr. Lucky, I think you're gonna appreciate this car right here. There's my Camaro. I mean, a customer's Camaro. So
Nice. Wow. Hey, you got an R1 over there. Is that an O2 or what your R1 is that? Oh, what do you got? A Chevy on there too?
you know what? I should be into bikes. I think that what is an R1, but the year I don't know what the year is.
Yeah,
Uh,
that windscreen is pretty high. That's hard to say, but I love R1s. I used to be doing 120-mile-an-hour wheelies on the highway. I got video to prove it. Love sport bikes. But anyway, back to car audio.
so let's go back to that S15, and then
So you're doing like high end stuff.
well, again, going back to what we were talking about, Andrew and I started off this store as just car stereo, and we wanted to get into window tinting, and then wanted to get into window tinting, and then we brought in another guy, and he became a partner, and I've known him for a very, very long time. His and he was into bagging, he was into custom fabrication. I mean, he was into all of that. And, we were like, okay, well, I know a lot about car stereo. I'm not quite sure and keen. And, this is the thing where we always, and I had to look deep down into myself because, when we opened the store, I was in my mid 30s, going into my 40s. And I asked myself, am I too old to learn new stuff? And
No.
and you know what? And you're right. I wasn't. So I had to learn how to sell airbags. I had to learn how to sell coilovers. I had to learn how to, I had to step outside the box. And in order for music and motion to survive, in this day and age, we wanted to build this shop. And, one of the things that, I was listening to you guys talk last week, and I was trying to, I told Doug, I said, I would have loved to have got on and had a conversation with those two lovely ladies. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, car audio or any kind of audio or anything that is involve mechanics, there are a lot of, when you walk into either an O'Reilly's or Pet Boy or whatever mechanic, the thing is that whoever is behind that counter, if they're not properly trained, they will make that mother or sister or girlfriend or make them feel like they don't do anything, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And we built this store. I mean, so before I opened this store with Andrew, we I was managing a shop in Manteca, and my mother barely can speak English, and came in and said hi to me, and my mother felt uncomfortable in my shop, and I'm like, why is this 78-year-old lady feeling uncomfortable? She felt uncomfortable because the shop felt like a mechanic shop, and and I got to thinking, I'm like, if she feels uncomfortable because she would never set foot into a mechanic shop, she would never set foot into a parts store, she would never set foot into any of that. If she feels uncomfortable where I work, can you imagine how many mothers, sisters, daughters, girlfriends that would feel uncomfortable walking into that shop? So when Andrew and I shop, we built it to where we want it to be the main thing. When we opened this shop, one thing that we did is we wanted to see the geographic of the city of Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
And there are more soccer moms in Dublin, Livermore, Pleasanton, San Ramon, um, all these cities. There are more soccer moms than anything. So Andrew and I, when we built this store, we wanted it to be where if somebody comes in here, they want to feel comfortable. And it's like looking at it, when you walk into a restaurant, the second thing is, when you get sat down, you want to look at a menu, and so and that's why, when a customer walks in, we made this. I don't know if you guys can see that, but those are all the things that we sell. I mean, yeah, we sell all these, job. I mean, um, work,
Right.
do all of this.
All
So
the services that you provide, basically.
Absolutely, and and it has worked because I had a mother came in here and she's like, "Oh, my husband has a Harley. You guys do Harleys?" Or my daughter needs a GPS, or my daughter, and and then and so when we built the store, we built it based on we want to make everybody feel comfortable. It's not in a matter of we do all these high, and when you do all of that, all these high end cars will come, all these high end jobs will come, because
Yes.
and the reason why I say that is because the fact that when somebody, if they see a shop that's does nothing but high end, it's at a sense of they'll feel scared because the shop is high end, but they're gonna give you high end prices. We're not about that. We're the type of shop that we want to make everybody feel comfortable.
Yeah, you want to attract a certain clientele for sure.
Hey, so I just had a question real quick. Mike, can you walk us
Yes.
through this blue car? I don't even know what model, make, or whatever that is. And
So
don't turn
this
your phone sideways.
oh, sorry.
'Cause it
This
doesn't
is
work. There you go. So explain that car, please.
I'm gonna do my best because
Okay.
the person that owns this car, so it's an S15. It's built in Japan. It's a right-hand drive. It's the type of car you would see if you're doing like either Grand Theft Auto. If you guys ever, I'm not a gamer, but I guess in Grand Theft Auto or some, but for some odd reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my guys keep telling me that this car will, if it's tuned right, it'll go up to 500 to 600 horsepower. It's all original, and it's it is street illegal. We're blessed enough to the fact that we know every Dublin cop. So when we're taking it down to get washed, they still give us the dirty look, but they know what our intentions are with the vehicle. So
Can we see inside of it?
absolutely. So
We're getting comments saying that our volume is low by some people. I don't know if anybody can comment how we sound, because we are getting a couple of people say that we sound really low. Some others are saying, "Hey, it sounds great." But yeah, go ahead and give us a little tour of the car.
So I guess for the next 7 years, this car is going to be street illegal. After the 7 years, because I guess for every 25 years, again, quote me if I'm wrong, every 25 years, a car could be street. You can buy these cars from Japan and bring it up here, and I think they do that because of they don't want a lot of these cars leaving Japan. But it's an actual real Sylvia. There's the name of it. So yeah, she's you know, and right now we're getting ready to actually build the system inside. We bagged her. We put a airlift suspension in it, and we're actually getting ready to do some audio control stuff into the vehicle with some audio frogs. So, but yeah, she's gonna be sounding great on the track, as well as gonna be flying. So let me show you guys the inside of this car.
Not a bad looking little race car, huh?
Yeah, nice.
And I'm a very, very small guy. I can't even get out of this thing.
Look at the steering wheel. So I've never really been into the race cars, but that steering wheel, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the wrong fucking way. Excuse my language. So yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely correct. It's supposed to be on that side. So
no, not that side alone. That thing's facing upward. It's got me more than it being on the wrong side.
So that's so you can get in and out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So it disconnects, lets you get in, and then you slap it back into place.
Yeah.
Can I put that on my 07 Tahoe? Is all I care right now.
Absolutely
that is awesome.
can.
You can.
Okay, now that being said, the 07 Tahoe, when I was looking at like the GT steering wheels and all this other stuff, they were saying that people go off the road. For some reason, those things come loose. I don't know about that one right there, obviously, but they were saying that it can actually go off the road. They don't stay well, so they highly
as long as you buy right proper this part right here, and you'll be okay.
So I come to you guys with my 07 Tahoe. What would something like that run me? Installed and everything, ballpark. I know you can't give me probably an exact price, but
it all predicates on the the brand that you want to get. Steering wheels
Okay.
can between 150 to $200.
Or
Right.
50.
I'm sorry,
Or $50 if you want one to
or
fall off.
$50. Yeah. Or and plus the little I guess the gooseneck, that's what they call it. Again, I could be wrong. That that's actually going to be the most important part. So you could put a pretty good steering wheel in your vehicle for around $400-500.
Really? And how long does it take to put in? And do you have one in stock for tomorrow morning?
I would have to order that one for you, buddy. So
I'm gonna be down that way one day, man, because I want one of those steering wheels. That's awesome.
Dave
Yeah.
says that steering wheel will help you in Top Dog.
Dave Bradshaw can kiss my ass, and I'll see him in the lanes.
so you guys want to order this thing?
So
what was that?
one, go ahead, Mike.
You guys want to see the motor to this thing?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Don't turn it sideways. There you go.
There you go.
Hey, so Mike, so while we're looking at this motor, so is that twin turbo or single turbo? I can't see right there. I see at least the one on the right.
You know, if you ask me if a woofer is dual voice coil or single voice coil, I'd be able to. You're asking me. And I'm sure if my business partner is watching this, he's probably laughing at me right now.
Yeah.
But
Probably.
So I do want to go over some stuff about the car stereo shows. So you've been part of many shows. You've been a manager of a shop in Modesto at Audio Pros. You were the manager in a shop in Manteca. That was, what was the name of that shop? That was Audio Pros also. Sorry. You also were doing in Stockton. You were manager of a shop. I did shows for you there. I've done shows for you at this current shop in Dublin. Is there any one of the shows or a vehicle that really stands out?
Yeah, actually, out of all the shows, I mean, you know, I mean, the one that stands out the most, and we still talk about it today, was Gary Killian's Excursion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and one of the other vehicle that I like is Ray Maestas. Is I think he had a
Ray
Suburban.
Maestas.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my. From day one, and he's a homeboy of mine. We're both from Stockton, and I'll tell you what, that right there is one of my favorite sounding systems. I love that truck, and he's done a lot more to it. Yeah, good setup.
Oh, Christian Jensen says, "What's up, Mike?"
Hey, buddy.
He's the one that had the white truck the last show we had there, and he was doing Cyclone 20 hertz at like 155 dB. So,
Christian Jensen, good dude right there, man.
Yeah.
Jose Ramos is in the house from Fat Boys Car Stereo too.
Yeah.
Really good dude.
So like I said, my kids, you've known my kids for a very long time. They call you Midget Mike. They make fun of you. My kids are short, and you're shorter than them, except my son. He's tall. He's 6'1" or 6'2" or something.
Oh, your kids are tall.
My daughter's 5'4", Mike. You call that tall? That explains a lot.
Well, yeah,
that explains a lot right there. Yeah,
when I'm wearing shoes, I'm 5'3". So I call your daughters Chelsea number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, and that's not either one of their names, but yeah, whatever.
But so Alyssa, the one that
she's the taller of the two, the softball player,
and then there's Kelsey.
That's close to a Chelsea.
Okay, Kelsey is the one 5'4", right? Or no? Do I have it backwards?
Say that again. Is Kelsey what?
Kelsey is the 5'4" one. Right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I went through this with her. I took off my shoes, and I showed her exactly how tall I am. Not wearing shoes, barefoot, like my foot touching the ground. So yes, that's why they call me Midget Mike. You know.
I have a question for you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
What, getting into car audio sales, what would you recommend somebody getting into your industry? What would you recommend? A new guy coming up, wanted to do it. what would you recommend they do?
You know, it's funny you say that, Lucky. One of the thing about our industry, and it sucks because, and I don't know if I'm allowed to use that word, but the hardest
Shit, yeah, you can. You're good.
one of the hardest thing is, I have tried to hire so many young people, is because somebody gave me the chance, somebody gave me the opportunity, and it's one of those things. Somebody made me earn my tools, and I want to make sure that I want that person, I want them to earn their tools as well. And we've had a few success, but we've had few that they just don't see it. They want to see the other part.
They want the end result right now.
Exactly. They want the end result. They want to be. They don't want to know how the concept works, but they just want it to work.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
absolutely.
And they want to get involved where you guys are, the competition. And to answer your question, because I know it's been on my mind, what you asked me, when are you ever going to see me compete? I think I think I made Chemo very proud when I told him that I want to get into sound quality. And I hate to say this, and I think I'm going to make Chemo very happy, but Chemo, and I love the guy. Chemo says, Mike, it's time for you to start getting into sound quality. And I really, I'm a bass head at heart. I love loud, obnoxious, crazy, stupid loud.
Stupid loud. That's what we're about.
My eyes are just jiggling when I'm driving, and my lovely wife, she doesn't like it, but at the end of the day, it's. But I think the day I start competing is the day, and I hate to say this, but is the day I want to find time, because I want to do it right. And you guys all did it right. You guys focused on what you guys wanted. You guys went after what you guys wanted, and you guys executed that. With me, like I said, I would love to do it from the very beginning. I think I'm a little bit late into the game because I would be cheating if I competed right now, because I have great guys like you and of course Doug and Christian, and especially Greg,
Greg
and
Cologne.
Hello. Colin. So he said he's gonna get on and talk trash here in a bit. I'm surprised he hasn't yet, but
yeah. So one real quick thing. We do appreciate your knowledge and your background, and we like what you've done with the industry. You've been a mainstay in it for many, many years. That's how you got all that gray on your head, obviously.
Sorry.
And so, I mean, it's cool for us to see how someone has progressed from trying to be an installer, going into part of their life where they became retail sales. You still had a love for what you did, so you continued in there. You moved on to the next level. The next level for you happened to be manufacturer rep. So here you are working for, actually at that time, they were a fairly important part in the DB drag world as far as car audio goes. Everybody had a PH2000 amp.
Yeah.
Not the subs so much, but there were a handful of people that did run the Earthquake subs. Yeah. And then you guys came out with what was it?
PhD, the PhD2.
Yep.
And it's funny you say that. I mean, I remember when we were, Mike Acne, I always say his name wrong, but Shocker Mike was using them.
Yep, Mike Anke. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know what Chris Norris was using, but I know he was. We were all in that Team Quake thing,
mm-hmm.
And it's funny because here's a guy that myself. I'm trying to sell these to my retailers, and I'm like, I got these people that want to buy these, and my old if anybody's ever met Joseph, the guy's got full of heart, full of energy, and he's like, all he cared about was taking care of his competitors, and we were, if one amplifier that came to mind is we made a D4. It was four of the PhD2 amplifiers strapped, all four of them. So here we are.
Shh, you can't do that.
Oh,
That was against the rules at the time.
oh, sorry. Oops. So, oops, my bad. But so I mean, here's all these earthquake D2s, all going to. I don't know if you ever know Jim at Underground. I forgot his last name. He had a Hummer, and we hit a pretty good number with his Hummer at the time. And again, like I said, all I cared about was when I worked for Earthquake, my whole thing was, we again, one of the best tools that I had when I worked for Earthquake was the little DB Drag logo and
Mm-hmm.
Ayaska logo and all these logos on the side of the box.
Yep.
And that gave me the selling power to my retailers, because at the end of the day, it gave my retailers the selling power to sell. If these things can surpass the DB Drag circuit, they will surpass in their car, and that was one of the things that, and on getting back into retail, I don't know what happened along the way, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. I say this, but I don't see it in any of our boxes anymore. And is it, and that's what's painful about that, because you know what, at the end of the day, there was something about, and this is a kid in me talking. This is a 16, 17, 18, 19 year old kid in me talking, not a 43-year-old, business owner. This is a 17, 18-year-old kid talking. When I was young, it was great to go into and watch everybody compete. It was awesome to see that. It was awesome to see what a woofer can do. It was awesome what these amplifiers are capable of doing. I mean, again, I started doing this and putting two Fisher Price subwoofers in the trunk of a car, and it, to me, it sounded good, but didn't understand the whole concept of Ohm's law at the time. But at the end of the day, that reached to a new era of, okay, that's what I really want to get into, is because of, I saw it on DB Drag and I saw it in shows and everything else. But, you know, I really wish, as a retailer and a business owner, our industry would be fun again if DB Drag got involved with the manufacturers. I
So,
don't know if I'm
so
supposed to
with
say
that,
that.
no, with that, that's fine. It's the manufacturers; it's their choice to get involved with DB Drag. DB Drag does reach out to all manufacturers, big, small. They reach out to DC. DC is actually a supporter. Incriminator Audio, um, obviously DC with Lucky there. But yeah, no, that we reach out to all the manufacturers. It's up to them if they would like to partake and be part of the DB Drag circuit. Wow, Lucky just kind of disappeared. There he goes. Hey, I just so we're about times up here. We're already to 58 minutes. We like to try and keep these things real close to an hour. So Lucky and I want to talk to you, Mike. You're more than welcome to hang out and listen and be part of this conversation. So we did our last weekend show at Jay's Alarms down in Fresno. It was a Friday night show. Participants, I believe we had 25 entries. I think we had 6 in Cyclone, 4 in Top Dog, 5 base race, and the rest of them in DB Drag. And I think we had 6 or 7 people in the 5K wall class. We actually had a wall competition go head to head. One guy was 150.4 to 150.6. And I believe that was for the final round.
Nice.
You guys can watch all these live on my Facebook page on Sonic FX. So if you're watching from a different shared feed, I can't see your comments
Right.
because I'm looking at them only on the Sonic FX page. But if you join the Sonic FX page, you hit the notification bell, you can see when I go live at all my events. We're set up to go to Reno and Sacramento and Fresno all year long. One of the other things we got into is I got to speak my shame. We had beat the boss for the first time.
Oh, did the boss get beat?
The boss done got beat. So
Oh man.
so I get in the first one. It's 129.9. I got Dave over with me. He did win. I told him he's
Dave
got to win.
Bradshaw,
Yep,
Team Send
Bradshaw
It.
team send it Dave. He did win. And so I get in this guy's car and I'm like, okay. And I'm trying to figure it out. Well, his bass knob is you turn it left to turn it up.
Oh wow.
So the very first time, so I'm going boom, boom, boom. I'm getting louder, 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 and I start turning it left, bust out. Because,
That's a
typically
really good excuse.
it
That's a
is.
really good excuse. Man, that's a
Hey.
really good. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
Kind of like the same excuse when you made that fourth order box at my shop.
Fourth order, what about it? It worked great. It's a single 10
Yeah.
fourth order.
Nope, Mike's gone now. And I have a question for Mike also, just
What's
out
up?
of curiosity. So you've been there how long at the location you're at now? And you said it's yours and a partner's
So-
yours, right? Or is it solely yours?
Yeah, Andrew is my Andrew was a very good friend of mine, and he's we've had this shop for about 6 years. Um, so before Andrew, and I think again I was managing a shop in Manteca and a shop in Modesto, and it was kind of hard because sometimes I would run back and forth, and
Right.
it's not a matter of a title is one thing, but if you can do the job, that's even better.
Yeah.
When I was with Earthquake, Joseph always said, "I'm gonna give you your title." I'm like, "What, the janitor?" I that's to me, well, to me, a title doesn't mean anything.
Right. No, I agree.
How you will be, how will people treat you, and how will people respect you, and how will people act towards you is how you're going to be respected.
Right.
It's
For sure. Absolutely.
yeah, and it's one of those things that um before I don't know if we brought this up, but I started me and two other guys, we started our own brand called Car Design. We were making A pillars for vehicle specific. Just it didn't work out. We all went our own separate ways. But I'm gonna say I want to say this, and I am kind of glad that I got involved with these guys. We did started Toxic Audio. I don't know if you guys ever heard of. I don't know if you guys know who Greg
That-
Purchell is.
Greg Purchell, he owns Audio Express, not the
Yeah.
$1 install one, but the other
No,
one
no, no.
up in
Yeah,
Sacramento. And he
yeah,
started the Toxic Audio brand
yeah,
out of his shop.
yeah.
Yeah. So where I was going with that was, are you planning on expanding? Are you going to open up another shop or another another city or anything like that? Or are you going to just stay focused right there?
You know what? Going back to what you asked me, how can we get people to to join this industry? What we're looking for, the type of people that we're looking for, we want people that care about themselves. And what I mean by that is that love themselves as much as they love what they're doing.
Right.
Once they love themselves and love what they're doing, what they're going to do for this industry is not going to be a job anymore. It's going to be it's going to be a fun thing.
Right.
My partner and I hired a guy. He's in his early 30s. He was a customer, and he was an army guy. We hired him, and he could be making more money somewhere else, but we hired him, and he's been with us for almost 2 years. And Sebastian, he basically, Sebastian says, I love to be able to come to work and enjoy and love what I do.
Right.
It's
Right.
and to and so once we find more people like that, yes, I would love for Andrew and I to open up other locations. We have had other shops that want us to buy their store, but
Hmm.
in order for you the, this store is I think when Andrew and I took on this building, we took on a very big responsibility because it's kind of like you're left-handed, if you only have one foot, you're hopping. If you
Right.
have 2 feet, your left and your right is moving in perfect harmony.
Right.
um so until we get the right people, we don't we one person I really want to bring on with us is Ray Maestas, but the problem with Ray is
Ray,
he's
don't
all the
talk.
way. Huh?
Oh, sorry. Never mind. I was thinking about this show, but you're talking about bringing him over there to install, correct?
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
problem with that is he lives too far,
Yeah.
and I think that Dublin to
Stockton.
Stockton or Lodi, wherever he lives, is I think that traffic will either drive him crazy or wanna, uh, you know, I don't know if he's gonna, I don't think he would want to do that.
Yep.
But we would love to open up another location. I don't think it's as big as this store because this store is just, it's all in all a 5,000 square foot store.
There you
Nice.
go.
Nice.
So
That's big. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
but
So I
Yeah.
hate to do this to you, Mike, but like I said, we're running up on it. We're beyond our hour now. I wanted
well,
to hold on. I wanted to mention also. I can't forget Team HRA. You know him. He's the guy that has Jay's old truck or old box van thing. He was in the 139.9 class. I went against him, and I goose egged again. So
Again?
again, so I am currently
Wow.
0-3 on beat the boss. So the
So
boss
you're gonna
is
be
0 and
shit
3.
out of luck when I come back in, huh?
Oh no,
So it's
I'm
all
no.
right.
So I figured it out. So what I'm gonna do every time now is I'm gonna do a test run with these vehicles. So
Okay, then we get a test run too.
you
Then
test run whatever the hell you need to. You
hey,
guys
what
don't
do I?
consider me on.
you guys don't stand a chance against me.
I think
So
you just lost twice. You just admitted.
Shh.
Oh man.
What's up, Mike?
What was that, Mike?
so is it too late into the season? As
No.
old
No.
age, catches up to me. But I would love to. It's funny. I think either Leo or Greg or Christian
Hmm.
said they wanted to do a show here, and I don't know. It's one of the three. I didn't. I said let's do it, but I don't. I want to do shows here. What really kind of got me to stop, and I know we're beyond our time, but I just wanted to make this comment. But I really do love doing shows, and I'm not a competitor, but I do the opportunity to get all my DB drag friends and brothers, and
Hmm.
I feel, and the only reason why I say that is I do have some pictures of when I was managing the stereo shop in Manteca when he calls himself the Mike Buffer of DB Drag, which is your brother, Dale Stockton, and um, when he competed. I mean, when he was the judge at the time, when I had Gary, Greg,
Yep.
I had all these people that showed up, and it was fun. It was great.
Hmm.
It's when I do these shows, and nothing against DB Drag, but I don't we Andrew and we try to we slow our business down, meaning we want you guys to be able to come here, have fun and enjoy, but we invite a lot of our customers,
Yes.
and this time around, I can honestly say Dublin PD is not going to come around because we've made good friends with
Hmm.
the chief I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I would love to do a show here, and
Well, you know where to
um
call.
Yeah, and then
and
you're gonna compete when we do the show there. Then you're gonna compete.
That's
oh
right. You
yeah,
gotta
let
get
me let
get in
me
your little forerunner, and anybody can do top dog or base race, right?
Right.
So that's what I
Anybody.
always suggest to everybody. All right, hey, like I said, we're already into this an hour and 10. Um, So I just wanted to congratulate Team HRA for beating me. He said it was hella fun because we tied, and then yeah, whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna show up the events coming up this week. Um,
Also, Doug,
yes, sir.
how do people follow you, and what do you share the videos to, and all that good stuff?
Okay, so let me go into this real quick. So this weekend is the 15th, 16th, which there are no shows on the DB Drag calendar. Then on the 22nd, we have a event in Montgomery, Alabama, which is a 3 times event. Then we also have our event in Sacramento, which is Lunsford Customs. It is a benefit to help him out. His store was broken into after our last event there, so we're going to try and help raise some money for that. That is a Saturday morning show. Not only that, but we're going to have 3 orgs there. It's going to be Iasca, DB Drag, and Mecca. So if you guys want to come to compete, that would be a great time, great place to come and try other formats.
For a good cause.
And for a great, awesome
For a
cause.
great cause.
Lunsford Customs has really stepped up and wants to be part of the DB drag scene, and he's going to start hosting shows. I believe Team Send It Dave Bradshaw, is going to step in, and between the two of them, they're going to make that kind of a go-to location, just like we have Brian Nyman's location. It's a mainstay currently, and that he wants to continue that. Then the following weekend after that, it looks like if you guys want to drive over to Russia, that's on that Sunday the 23rd, so you can hit our show and then get across the pond and go to Russia and compete.
Yeah, couple-hour drive, you'll be good.
Yeah, that's fine. And then on the 29th, there's Australia and in Sparks, Nevada. So we're going to do back at Baldini's, which is a night show. We start at 4 p.m. They want us out by 10, so 4 o'clock's a good start time. So we'll be at Baldini's Casino. Josh Tatu, he is doing tons and tons of promotion out there. He's got lots of people. We got things happening within the Reno Sparks area. So let's see. So that's the Sparks, and that will be it for this month. Next show we do next week on the 17th, we will have Lunsford Customs in here, along with we'll have Lunsford Customs and Christian Jensen both in here to talk about the show coming up, and just talk to Christian Jensen. Great guy. We're going to talk about his white truck, Black Sin, some of the vehicles he's had across the years. We'll also bring on the following month, which is June. We'll have the June events listed at the end of the show. So, Mike, any last thoughts about what we did today, what our talk and this and that?
I was very nervous about this, Doug.
I know you were.
And there's a lot of people that don't know who I am, and I'm a very private person. It's not that I don't let anybody into my life. I've always been the type of person of just get it done and do whatever it takes to get it done, and at the same time try to execute whatever you can execute, and I don't have a. I always tell people I may be the loudest little Asian guy you'll ever meet, but I don't have a blowhorn in my mouth of publicizing everything. I've always been the type of person that I just I love what I do. I enjoy what I do. But I would love to, again, I would love to, one of the main reasons why I got into doing the DB, to do this segment with you and Lucky is, I really, really would love for all of us just to find a way to bring new people in.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And keep this passion, this thing that we have. There's a lot of young people. It's funny, and I know we all have to go, but I had two young kids that came in here 2 weeks ago, and they were bragging about the status they had, and their YouTube of the kind of cars they got, the kind of this they got. And I asked them, I said, why are you guys bragging about that? And they go, well, it's because people think we're sick. And I said, what would be sicker is if you brag about the cars you built. You've actually made got in your hands and change a tire, or change the oil, or put a speaker in the car, and we're big into that. If a father and son wants to come in here and they want to do their DIY thing, we support that. We have our techs on board. They'll call our techs directly if they have a question, or we'll give them the printout of what they need to do. It's because back in the day we had Radio Shacks. Back in the
Mm-hmm.
day we had Circuit City. Back in the day we had Good Guys. Now we don't have anything, and
Yeah.
it sucks because and that's what breaks my heart, because all these kids, I hate to say, but that's what they brag about. So those two kids that came in here, and they came back to me and they said, you know what, Mike, you're right. We want to be able to show these people what we can do with our hands. We get more people like that that will get in, um that will get into wanting, and that will open up the doors.
It will.
If I actually learned how to install and I actually became an installer, I wouldn't have been the person that I am today.
Nope.
And
So.
none of you guys wouldn't be the person if somebody gave us all a chance. And we have to look, and that's one great thing about DB Drag, and why I brought up Mike Martin, why I brought up Gary, or Greg Kalani. Greg used to be my retailer. I used to sell him. You know how many times that guy has blown up? No, never mind. But you know how many times have that guy? But at the end of the day, what? I love Greg. I always took care of him, and Greg always took care of me. But at the end of the day, somebody gave somebody a chance, and
Yep.
somebody, and that's one thing. Like, I really want to get people coming back in here, and it breaks my heart the fact that I will do a show here, and I would get you know, 2, 3 people will show up. Before I would get 15, 20 people. At the end of the day, it's a matter of getting everybody together,
Mm-hmm.
showing, expressing how, it's kind of like our barber shop. Our car audio, go to the barber shop, express your feelings. Our wives go to the salon, express their feelings. This is our barber shop,
Yep. I would agree.
and and there's more that I would love to talk to you guys about. I mean, but I just that's I would love to do a show. I'll get with Doug, and I'll get with Mr. Lucky, and it's finally an honor to meet you, Lucky. And I watched
Likewise.
you. I watched you when you did your Stockton beat down. I watched your events. I'm a
Thank
fan.
you.
And
Thank you.
and I was talking to Lucky. I was telling Lucky I'm a fan of his.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
I appreciate that.
Well,
you know.
that's because I don't need any fans because I'm Doug MF Stockton.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
I appreciate that,
apologize.
Mike. I really do.
You
I
know,
appreciate that, Mike.
again, like I said, when you tell me what I've done for this industry, Doug, I haven't done nothing to this industry. I can sit here and tell you what Earthquake has fed into me, and what
Mm-hmm.
Earthquake has done for me, or for the short period of time when I was a rep. But and Carlos is an amazing guy.
Mm-hmm.
you know um I had the pleasure and the opportunity to work with Carlos,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a hardworking man, and he cares more about his family,
Yes.
before DB Drags his second family, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why he combined two of them together. And I don't think we'll ever see another competitor like Carlos, where he'll.
I do. I think there's more people out there like him, and they will find their way into the lanes. And once they find their way, they're going to realize what they can have, and it's an extension, right? So
Yeah,
it's an extension of their family. It's not their family, and in nothing. I'm not asking people to replace their family, but it's just an
yeah,
extension of their family. And you'll find that all these people, they have the same thing in common, and we can all connect when we go to these shows. Have a good time. All right,
Yeah, and
Lucky.
that.
Oh, I gotta get to Lucky. We're way past on
Oh,
time.
sorry,
So
Lucky.
so Lucky, what's you got any final thoughts, sir?
It was a pleasure having you on here, Mike. It's honor to meet you, even though we're in a
You
Zoom
too, sir.
meeting or whatever. I'm definitely gonna have to come up there and get one of those cool steering wheels. And yeah, I'd like to see you compete, man. If we end up throwing a show up there at your shop, I'll have to throw you in the piggy bank and see what you can do in this vehicle, unless you got another one you want to try. But Doug, what about the next show coming up?
Lunsford Customs.
The Lunsford, nope. The next this week in car audio.
Oh, this week in car audio, that's going to be Christian Jensen and also Anthony Lunsford to discuss the show coming up, and Christian Jensen talking about his ring. He's a world champion, and
Right.
so we'll have him in here. Also, hopefully next week we may have an announcement on what's happening with World Finals. Wayne and Celise are working really hard on that right now, so they're trying to get their location set up, but we should be able to let everybody know where World Finals is going to be and what weekend it's going to be next week. So that's
Yes,
definitely what they're working on, and everybody, I think, we're going to get a good consensus across the whole country, and hopefully people can understand that this is the intent is to help the sport grow, not to take away from the sport. And that's what we're
right.
going to get if everything comes to fruition with what they're working on with the multiple orgs getting all together one place for World Finals, all the judges together. So
Also, everybody that's watching this, please
Oh, yes.
do us a huge favor and share this to
Like it.
every single group. Like it, leave comments, ask questions, all that good stuff. But you got to go to Sonic FX on the group section. Join that. That way we can see your questions. Like Doug said earlier, if you guys have questions, we can't see them unless you're in the Sonic FX page. So share the video, put the word out there about This Week in Car Audio, help spread the love. Like Doug talks about the shows coming up and all that good stuff. A lot of the new guys are always DMing me, when's the next show, this and that. Sonic FX is the place you want to go. You're going to know all the shows coming up. So Doug, what about iHeart?
Oh yeah,
Twitch
so
and all that.
not Twitch yet. So currently,
Okay.
This Week in Car Audio, you can download audio only on iHeartRadio and also iTunes. Like and subscribe on those. Even if you watch us live here, please do. So like and subscribe to those things. That also helps me get my notoriety up. And once I reach a certain level of notoriety, I can change the guest. Nothing wrong with Mike, but we're definitely. I want to get Celise Harris on here. I want to get a couple other people on here, and they have told me once I hit a certain level of viewership that they would be ready and willing to come on. So I need everybody's help in doing this. You can like, share, do whatever you need to do to help get the word out. Invite all your friends to come and watch it. I know they do that in Barbados. I know Canada is we're starting to get a good following in Canada. But once again,
Yes.
Hey, thank you guys for being here tonight.
No, thank you.
And we are going to be out of here.
Hit them like buttons. Every time we do these shows, smash them like buttons. So the whole time we're doing the show, it gets makes us feel special. Make sure you hit them like buttons. Blow them up.
Take care, guys.
All right, y'all.
See you,
See you,
buddy.
buddy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Take care.